All right. Looks like I am live now. Want to say hello to everybody and apologize in advance. My background is actually trying to eat my face. I can't help that I wore the wrong color shirt and I'm in a dark room, but that is what it is for now. So, for anybody that I have not met before, I am the guy who's been on some of the panels as a moderator already. My name is Ryan Maxwell, and I am going to awkwardly talk to myself for the next 30 minutes about this new book that I've been working on for a while now. The book that I have been writing is called Grand System Vending. I'm titling the series The Vending Apocalypse. It's something that I have had an idea for a while back. Hello, Facebook user. Looks like we might need to have that StreamYard link out there so I can see who everybody is and know who you are when you're coming in to talk to me. But again, my name is Ryan Maxwell, the author of Grand System Vending, which I have been putting out on Royal Road now. I started my journey on August 28th, was when I first sat down and wrote out the idea for a lit RPG that included vending machines. And I thought, this is a cool idea. I've never seen this before. It's something that kind of just came to me all of a sudden. I thought maybe I'll just run with this. So I I get the question all the time. So the number one question that I get asked about grand system vending is number one, what is this just like that anime that is that we had that just came out recently that says, oh, it's a vending machine. Somebody was died and they were reincarnated as a vending machine and they are traveling around the dungeon. I don't remember the name of it because it's got a really, really long title. The answer is no. This is not a reincarnated as a vending machine uh, style lit RPG. This is actually a post-apocalyptic styled lit RPG that happens when the Earth is inducted into what I'm currently calling, but might change the name of because you know how edits go. I might change the name, but it is the Intergalactic Federation of Planets. So there's a whole system and universe of planets that are part of this system. And it's Earth's turn. They finally get inducted into that. They've reached that point. So they have placed a mana core in the Earth, and that gives the ability to have magic in the world on Earth. It actually takes place on planet Earth. We start out in Dallas, Texas. For anybody who knows how big Texas is, you know that this is going to be travel is going to be difficult. But it is something it's something that I'm familiar with, and I've been told in the past, write what you know. So I started with writing something that I know about. After the mana core is placed on the Earth, the people who were running the system noticed that Earth has a very strange fondness for machines that distribute items out of them in exchange for money. So they have actually incorporated every vending machine on the planet into the system that's used to. It's kind of like a storefront. So everything that's done there is the information that they would use instead of having, like, if you went to Skyrim and if you're playing Skyrim and you went in and you find all the shop owners and you have to pay them to get the items that you would need and come back and hope that it's there. But instead here, the the system uses vending machines to increase the survivability of people on the planet. So at any time you can take monster cores, which you can get from killing monsters, and use those as patronage for your items in the vending machine. So I thought it was a really cool idea. Apparently other people have too, because I still have people come back to read it, apparently. We're currently sitting at a little over 30,000 views on Royal Road right now. I am up to chapter 43 of released, and I do release daily so that everybody gets a new chapter each and every day that goes on there. We have 355 followers, and 65 people said it was their favorite. So that's definitely a good deal on there going currently, and I'm really having a blast writing the characters for this, trying not to take it too serious. It starts out with a group of guys, so it's not just that lone MC trying to make his way through the world and find friends along the way after he's kind of become overpowered or more powered than normal people. It's a group of friends that start off right off the bat, and they're able to go through uh, the system together. the Grand System. That's where Grand System Bending came from, which is the name of the system they're using to integrate into this world. So if you haven't gotten a chance to read it yet, Geneva has placed the link in the chat that you guys can go take a look at and give it a little read. See what you think. Start off slow and then move on with that. Let's see, we got some comments coming in here. TJ said he feels like I'm the lit RPG version of Zordon. I was not allowed to watch Power Rangers when I was a kid, ironically. So, but I do know the reference. And then I got older and it was too late to watch that. So, but I'm given the Power Rangers powers, all the things I need to be doing, all the powers of lit RPG in the world within my control. I am God of my own universe. So yes, I see myself that way. It gives me a big head, which is great. You know, it's a nice little emotional booster when you're feeling down sometimes to think that you have control, the power of who dies and who lives. Um, and Jay said, I have some cool characters in the book. MC is a different take on a warlock, and his patron is hilarious. Yes, it is. James is a bit disturbing. That's just where my mind comes from. I decided when I wanted to write this time, it's funny to think of that. I thought that it would be fun to, I say fun, I thought it would be better to put a little bit more of myself into this book than I normally have. So I think I have 4 other manuscripts that I've written almost all of, if not all of, on some of them before this. And it just didn't feel right. I say just didn't feel right. One of them I really poured a lot of time and effort into. Had 150,000 words on the first book and 100,000 words into the second book, and it was just like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole sometimes. So I didn't know where to go from there. I started the journey thinking I can make this work. I was very fond of the story idea. I loved the way it was going. It's called Dragon Rider. If you follow me on Royal Road, I do have the first few chapters on there as well. Unfortunately, it just wasn't taking off, and I talked to probably 10 to 12 different authors asking for advice. Hey, would you mind reading a chapter or two, see what comes up? It just never fit into place right. So um and I was really starting to get down. I actually got into a point where I was like, I don't know if this is worth it. What's the point of continuing writing anymore? And I had some depression, and I suffer from anxiety on a regular basis anyways. So I actually take daily medication for some of my depression and anxiety now, to try to help with that. So I got to kind of a dark place with it where I was thinking none of this is really worth it. I did have some. I had some really good counsel from a really good friend of mine, TJ Lombardi. I know you guys have seen him if you've been in here before. Some people call him a douche canoe. I call him, you know what? I tell them, TJ, don't worry about what they say about you. It's more important to be who you are. but I really loved some of the things that he told me and talked to me about. TJ has a stream that he does on the weekends. That's his weekend updates, and those have been absolutely inspirational for me sometimes to know that I'm not alone in what I'm going through. So if anybody is ever watching this live or later, just know that all the things you think you're going through, and you're the only one in the world who's ever been through it, and you don't feel like you're good enough, you don't feel like you have what it takes to do this, you are not alone. You Everyone has felt this. Uh, Everyone has felt this at one point in time. But we've all felt like we're not good enough, we can't do it, and so make sure that you tell yourself that, and remember that everyone's been there. So what I decided to do after I could not get my head on right for writing that first story. I scrapped it. I mean, I still have the whole thing, but I decided maybe starting over is the best deal. I got some advice on that from Brian Norden. He wrote a, a book just recently, Silvers, and now I'm not gonna remember the name of it because I am talking so loudly. But he wrote a book just recently that came out that was amazing, and it's done really well. And he gave me the advice: sometimes you just need to try something different. And I'm totally appreciative of Brian's thoughts on that, and sharing his realizations with me as well. So it's very meaningful to make sure that you give yourself grace. Quest Academy, there it is. Thank you, Jay. And Jay's always been there behind me too. So And if you have read the story, it's that J in the book. Yes, that's the J that's in the book. Um, so if you've been around the lit RPG scene for very long, and you have if you read the book and you think you know the names, you do know the names. That's where it's from. I tend to take some inspiration from people that I know. Again, trying to use the theory that if you know the person or write what you know. So I know a lot of these people fairly well, and it's been really helpful. I find it's been easier to write people that I uh, know better than it is to just make up a character and try to go. So, yep, that makes sense. And Paul, you are absolutely the masterpiece. Don't ever let anybody tell you otherwise. But I think that's one of the biggest things I want to make sure that I say. It's been on some other panels before, but giving yourself grace to move forward is more important than anything in this world. It's not something that everybody can do, and it's one of the hardest things you'll ever do. But you need to seriously stop and consider why you're writing this, why you're doing this, and what it's for. And remember that it is important to not be the hard person on yourself. There's always somebody behind you willing to crack the whip for you. You don't need to be that person too. So give yourself that grace to move forward. Anyways, back on grand system vending. Again, I have immensely enjoyed writing this story. Um, I have I've poured a lot of my personality into this, which I think was part of my problem with the first few manuscripts I wrote. I while I enjoyed the stories and I loved the ideas, I didn't put myself into the book like I did this time, and um, I apologize for putting myself in this book. It will give you all a lot deeper depth and dive into my mind and how it works, and I'm so sorry for that for anybody who has read this far into it. Again, I think it's hilarious letting my sense of humor free to run wild. I have been now officially nicknamed the Lord of Dick Shots in one of the chats that I'm a part of due to this book. So I will make sure that I give everybody a warning who wants to go read this. Excessive profanity is used in this book. So make sure that you know that going into it. I think it makes it great. And I think it makes it wonderful. There's also plenty of violence, lots of killing. Small spoiler, I guess it's not really a spoiler, but uh, everybody has absolutely loved it that has read it so far. Is that um, it begins taking place in downtown Dallas, and everybody's kind of thrown into pandemonium because it's a big announcement. They're being inducted into the system, and nothing seems to make any sense anymore. And suddenly, magic is real. And because magic is real, the ambient mana in the area can collect close enough that monsters are randomly spawning literally everywhere, and people are experiencing goblins for the first time on their way to work. So on I-75 is where our people come into the play and begin their adventure, and goblins are some of the first things they meet, and they begin to do the first thing that came to my mind, which I thought was get in the damn car and run them the fuck over, because that's what we need to do right now to get away, is run them over. And they get a special skill called vehicular manslaughter, which is I thought was very clever, of course. So uh, yes, we are, Paul. That is exactly what we are doing. But so they get vehicular manslaughter, and that's a great way for them to. It's actually a skill they can level up, and they do that by running things over, which is just the best way to do it. And again, it takes place in Texas, so you know what are you going to do? Some people in Texas are completely nuts. I'm one of them. I'm completely nuts. But it's a fun time. It's a great adventure. Again, it's a bunch of friends getting together to band together to try to get through this new apocalypse that's happening, because the world is now being thrown into complete and utter chaos. I mean, money is no longer a thing. It doesn't mean anything because so many people are just dying right off the face. It's an apocalypse. What are you going to do? Let's see. What else do we have to talk about in here before? I do have a little surprise for you guys. Um, we can go ahead and cut directly to that. I've seen some other people do some live readings. I have obtained permission from the man himself. His name is Jeff Hayes. He works for Sound Booth Theater, and he has a live that they do on their YouTube page that gets streamed through several other places as well, called Sound Booth Theater Live, and they take in requests for people sending in some snippets of their stuff to read aloud on the system or on their show. So I was actually lucky enough to be picked once to have part of my story read by Jeff, and it has made me realize that that is probably the only man I would ever want to read the audiobook for my my Audible that would come out. So I'm going to see if I can share this here, and let's share a screen. Yes, don't show me these tips again because I don't fucking care. Let's share this, and I certainly hope it's going to, yes, share tab audio. Okay. So I have this queued up to show this, and again, Jeff did give me permission to share this. So I'm gonna let you all hear a little snippet from Jeff reading this live on Sound Booth Theater Live. I hope you guys enjoy it.
All right. Oh, sorry. There we go. The being that began floating through the portal looked like a combination of a professional bodybuilder and a lizard. It was covered from head to toe in patterned tattoos that seemed to glow with power. Its eyes were solid red with no pupils, and it had a white bandana tied around its forehead. Its arms and legs bulged with muscles, and its hands and feet were tipped with black talons that looked wickedly sharp. It continued to rise horizontally out of the shape on the wall with its arms crossed in a pose that said he was a badass and everyone should know it. Once he stopped rising, his feet touched down on the wall. As soon as this happened, he fell straight to the floor onto his face. Ow! What the fuck? Who put the summoning circle on a wall? The instructions specifically say to put it on the floor for just this issue. You complete and utter morons have no idea what I'm capable of, and I'm really not in the mood to deal with this shit. You absolute cunt-stained, whore-bred, pencil-dicked, ass-headed sons of bitches! The creature yelled at the three men standing in the room. I like him. James leaned in and said to Tom, who was leaning back from the verbal onslaught. The being smiled at this. It's too bad you aren't the one who summoned me. I like your spunk, kid, it said, looking at James. I am Azrock, great being of the plains of Porthos, far beyond the realms of the demigods. I have come to form a pact with you. Azrock pointed directly at Tom and narrowed his red eyes slightly. His skin was a greenish color, and his tattoos swirled in black ink around his scaled body. His muscles rippled as he flexed them while moving. Let us set the terms of the pact. You will serve in the capacity that I need in exchange for some of my power. I will tattoo you with the abilities you choose from a set to be determined based on the jobs done for me or milestones met, Azrock said. What exactly does that mean? Tom asked. What are the requirements and milestones? I'm not signing anything without a clear understanding between us. The requirements are quests that you will complete that I give you over time. The milestones I can set as either accomplishments that you complete or souls you send to me, Azrock explained. Souls I send? You mean from kills? Or sacrifices? Ew! Kills, of course! Only those dark freaks like sacrifices. The souls are usually too pure and don't have that much energy anyway, Azrock said, clearly disgusted at the thought. I'm not some kind of monster. Regular old souls will do fine. The more you send, the more powers I'll give you. You don't have a problem with tattoos, do you? No, or I wouldn't have chosen the Pact of Tattoos, Tom replied, a bit confused. Cool. You wouldn't believe how many people don't get that part, Azrock said. Fucking idiots. So, You get to pick one tattoo to start with. What's it gonna be? With that, a prompt appeared in Tom's view. Pact of the Tattoo. You have decided to form a pact with Azrock. As a blessing of good faith in the pact, Azrock has offered you one tattoo to begin with. Choose one of the following. Tattoo of Brute Strength. This tattoo will allow you to boost your strength by 50% for 1 hour by using 20 mana. Hit harder, lift more, and deal more damage to your enemies. Tattoo of the Flaming Fist. This tattoo will allow you to encase your hands in fireballs for 1 hour at the cost of 20 mana. The fire can be started and stopped, but the timer of 1 hour will continue to count even if the fire is not active. Excuse me. Tattoo of Barkskin. This tattoo will allow you to thicken your skin, raising your defense by 50% for 1 hour at the cost of 20 mana. These are all great options. I have no idea which one to choose, Tom said, seriously considering his options. But there are no ranged options. These are all close combat options. That's because at this level you likely don't have a lot of mana, so hitting things ends up being the way of it. So I want you to be able to defend yourself. Don't worry, every warlock gets a spell or two right at the beginning as well. But these will keep you out of tight spots, Azrock explained. That makes perfect sense, actually. Thanks, Tom said. I think Tattoo of Brute Strength is the way to go for now. That will come in handy in a lot of places. Tom made his selection. Burning, stinging, needle-like sensations began to crawl over his shoulders. Pain like being bitten by a million mosquitoes all in one spot blossomed into a fiery heat of pain. Pulling up his sleeves, he saw that large, swirling tribal patterns were being tattooed right on his shoulders in black ink. When the pain subsided, Tom felt a small bit of power running through the tattoos. Bad ass, James said, moving in close to see the tattoos for himself. Our pact is sealed. Stand by me and I will stand by you. If you are not comfortable with a certain quest, you may reject it. But be warned that you can only reject 3 quests in a row before you must take the 4th, or our pact will be broken. I will not ask terrible things of you. I do need certain things to continue to provide you with the strength you have, though. Do me proud, young warlock, Azrock said. With that completed, the portal in the wall opened again, and Azrock moved toward the wall. And if you ever summon me on a wall again, I'll teach you a terrible lesson about the pain those tattoos can cause you. Azrock.
Well, I hope that you guys absolutely enjoyed that as much as I did. Yes, that was the Jeff Hayes. Reading that, it was a cold read, so there were some mistakes that he made, and of course, just like anybody would do reading something for the first time. So I absolutely fell in love with hearing him say that. I certainly hope that that's an option on the table for me at a later point. I am definitely going to be trying to see if Sound Booth Theater will be something that I can reach out to at some point in time. We'll see what the future holds, though, of course, but it gives me a direction to go with that. And again, I think he just did an absolutely fantastic job with doing that as well. I did have a couple people ask some questions. So, what are you hoping to inspire your fans through this writing? That was his first one there, Geneva, the earlier question. I don't know if I'm hoping them to inspire them to do anything, especially not with James as one of my characters. That would be a scary thing to see James inspire people. But if nothing else, it's for me. It's supposed to be a nice escape, something to get out of this world and to take your mind off things. I wrote this specifically with the thought in mind of being humorous. I wanted this to be funny. I wanted to take people's mind off of things. So I'm enjoying the fact that that people are loving it as much as I do, and I hope that people continue to do that. And the other question from Kyle. So, what are you hoping to inspire your fans in writing Grand System Vending, and what strengths you hoping to instill in your MC? That's an interesting question. Um, because they're just regular, absolutely just regular Joe Schmoes in this book. There's not anything special about these people. I've included some of my friends as the main characters. Derek and James are actually people I know, and Derek is a military guy, so he's got a pretty good head on his shoulder from having been in war zones before. Kind of tends to be the voice of reason of the group, where Tom has kind of been thrust into the leadership role simply because he was taking the lead on some of the things that happened beforehand, and nobody else wanted to be the leader. Kind of like real life, where you a lot of times you end up with responsibility because nobody else wanted it, and you're just trying to be a good person. So I'm hoping that Tom learns more about being that good leader, and realizing that even though people are in his corner, and where people are relying on him, that it still means you can do good things. Still means you can be a great person and do positive things through there. And Tom has, I don't want to call him a bleeding heart, but he is definitely a bit of a sucker for helping people, and kind of like I would be if I found myself in that case. Uh, Got to head out to birthday dinner. Jay, thanks so much for everything that you do and standing behind me with all this. I'm absolutely blessed to have you be a part of my life, and to keep giving me the inspirations and uh, uplifting words that you give me from time to time when I'm a little hard on myself. So um, it's another great point to remember about writing is that you are absolutely not the one. You're not the only one alone, and there are people that are out there rooting for you. So surround yourself with people who are going to be positive, and those people will help carry you through some of those dark times as well, because none of us can do this alone. So I didn't realize that I was going to get sappy in this at all, at several points, but it's a good point to remember that as hard as we can be on ourselves, if you have people in your corner who are rooting for you, can take you through. I know that Geneva, I've reached out to her several times, and she's been absolutely nothing but positive when I've reached out to her. Jay has been there for me. Brian's been there. Many of the people in this live have been there for me. So it's great to see that you guys are still out there willing to support me, and I appreciate everything that you guys are doing. I am I have set myself a goal to finish up this book by November 1st. This the Guildify has thrown that off a little bit, so I still think I can make it. Aiming between 120 to 150,000 words right now, so it should be a really good deal. And Geneva did post my item in there as well, or my Royal Road page in there. I'm under Maxwell Author. If anyone wants to look that up directly, it's all one word, Maxwell Author, spelled just like the coffee Maxwell is. And again, I do have another one on there, but I've put it on hiatus because it's not doing so great. So Grand System Vending is the way to go for right now. If you haven't checked it out yet, I highly advise it. Again, I'm having a fantastic time writing this story. It's been so much fun. You'll find that the further into it you go, the more stories coming out right now. I'm going to be going back to add I'm going to go back to add more of the system stuff in once I finish getting the story pounded out. I really need to really wanted to get that story pounded out hardcore first. I struggle with the story more than I do the system. I find that creating systems for me comes kind of second nature. It's pretty easy. The writing part of it's a little bit harder part for me, but I'm focusing on that. And it is a dialogue based story for anybody who isn't sure of what to think of it. I'm not 100%. Not 100% sometimes on my show versus tell, but I found that if dialogue drives this, then it makes it a great story, and I can show a lot through that dialogue in the system as well. So that is Grand System Vending. Again, go check it out. Give it a like, give it a favorite, give it an honest review. I don't beg for 5 stars. I ask for honest reviews because I want people's take back or feedback. I am absolutely going to be going through every single comment that people have put onto each of the individual chapters, and that's all going to be taken into consideration during my edits to find out what exactly I need to do. So I'm grateful to every single person who has given Grand System Vending a chance. It means the world to me, more than you could ever know. But it's been a wild ride for sure. And buckle up if you do read it, because it's going to be a wild ride for each and every one of you, too. So thanks for coming out to hear me talk and ramble for a half hour straight all by myself. Hope that you guys enjoyed the little snippet from Jeff getting to do a cold read of part of it. That was just the highlight of my writing career so far. I have absolutely loved that. And again, I like to do my little plugs because I'm kind of a suck up. But we want to say thank you to Geneva for putting all this together. We appreciate everything that she does, putting in all the long hours to get this convention going and giving us a chance to do this together. So I have 6:45 now. I am going to wave awkwardly until they let me go. Thanks everybody for coming out. And again, Grand System Vending on Royal Road. Give it a chance. I think you'll like it. So have a great evening, guys. And we do have another panel coming up right after this here in about 15 minutes. Long awkward waving pause.